you. You're so vain. I'll bet you think this song is about you, don't you?
Well, good afternoon from Nikki and from me, from Castle Goring on yet another beautiful and sunny, but now starting to feel slightly autumnal afternoon from Castle Goring. Well, today we are going to celebrate the ascendancy of elegance, style, tastefulness, and sophistication over crassness, inelegance, opportunism, and all unsavoury marching. That's one of the things we're going to celebrate this afternoon. So, without further ado, I am going to read out a question from Julie Haffenden. And we're not going to only have questions this afternoon. I'm also going to be covering people's observations, because I think it's really important that we nail down what the public really feels. And I am delighted to see that the public feel the way, in my opinion, they ought to. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, I'm simply making the point that I pride myself on being a decent person with good values, and I am delighted when I see that these are shared by many people in the public arena. So, Julie Haffenden says, Lady C, thank you once again for all your informative and candid views. My pleasure. I watched both BBC and ITV news reports about the royals attending the James Bond premiere and was disappointed at how limited it was in regard to their part in the occasion. With Catherine Cambridge outshining all the stars, in quotes, with her breathtaking beauty and natural radiance, why did they not include this in their coverage? Well, my dear, it's really very simple. ITV is headed up by a very woke woman by the name of Dame Caroline McCall. The BBC is wokeness personified. They use the royal family for entertainment purposes and denigration. They're not going to do anything to boost the royal family if they can possibly help it. It's as simple as that. They starve the royal family of as much positive coverage as they can engineer. If they can give them 20 minutes, they'll give them 5. If they can say something nice, they'll water it down. If they can say something nasty, whoopsie daisy, let's boost it up and go with it. That's how they operate. They have a very wokist, anti-monarchist agenda at play. Why do you think Meghan and Harry get so much more attention than they deserve, and the others get so much less attention than they deserve? Gina Wiggles says, the contrast between these two brothers and their respective spouses couldn't be more pronounced than the catastrophic farce the world witnessed in New York City a few days ago, and the stunning appearance the Cambridges made at the Bond film premiere the other evening. Can the stark differences between the couples possibly go unnoticed by the obtuse California couple? Fit to be tied is an understatement. Well, I gather Meg's is fit to be tied. I gather that she is disconsolate, enraged, and eating up all the cement. And Harry isn't best pleased either, so I am informed. The contrast, yes, is obvious. You know, actions speak louder than words. And what I find entertaining is how Harry and Meghan's people and Harry and Meghan themselves still are trying to sell the lie that one of the reasons why they had to leave was that the royal family was jealous of their outstanding success and jealous and nervous of the fact that they were going to steal the limelight from the rest of them. Well, we have seen in the last few days a complete demonstration of how farcical and nonsensical that notion was. Just by comparing Harry and Meghan and their performance with William and Catherine and their performance. Nobody has needed to say anything. Just looking at the two couples in operation has been deafeningly eloquent. Samuel Williams says, I wonder if William... Sorry. Gosh, sorry. I will start over and try not to interrupt myself. I wonder if William tried to ponce a job for Kate while at the Bond premiere. You don't need to wonder, my dear. William did not try to ponce a job for Kate. William was impeccably behaved. Now, can we imagine what Harry would have done? Harry would have gone bounding up, and Harry would have said, you know, my wife does voiceovers, or my wife does TV, or my wife, I think, would be the best one. My wife would make a much better Bond girl than any of these bombshells. I mean, my wife is the hottest thing on 2 feet, or maybe off 2 feet. Naughty, naughty, naughty Harry. Brenda Wybrow says, now we know why the others, capital T and capital O, left the country. Yes, we do. A physical demonstration, silently delivered, says it all. Shadish124 says, one thing I've noticed is that Catherine is perfectly comfortable walking to match her pace with whomever she is with, be it the 90-plus-year-old queen or her long-legged husband and children. She can stand still and radiate a confidence and peacefulness versus one who strides out of their own security perimeter to animatedly pump someone's hand, push others aside to hug strangers, or pretend to have engaging conversations with invisible people for the benefit of a camera lens. very well observed. You know, serenity cannot be faked very readily. True blue, as it used to be called, is very eloquent without you opening up your mouth. You don't need to have a voice to be heard when you are true. You only need a voice to be heard when you need to sell a crock of cruddies, if there is such a word. I'm trying to skirt around YouTube's rules. And we can see why Meghan needs her voice. Because without her voice, she doesn't have the natural ability. She doesn't have the inner glow. There's a reason why Meghan was never a star. I think Catherine Cambridge showed her the other night what true stardom is really all about. Bess Collins says, "Dear Lady C, thank you for making these videos. My pleasure. I enjoy your special brand of sarcasm." Me? Sarcastic? Never. You're a very naughty person, Bess Collins, to call me sarcastic. I'm never sarcastic. Never, never, never. When I say that I think that crass and crude and vulgar people are classy with a capital K, I'm not being sarcastic, am I? I am? Thanks for telling me. If I may continue, having interrupted myself, fans of Harry and Meghan have a theory that Catherine copies Meghan Markle's style. Can you comment on this? That, my dear, would be the compliment that elegance paid to inelegance. I don't think elegance is going to emulate inelegance. It just shows how delusional Meghan's followers are. First of all, Catherine's style is completely different from Meghan's. Always has been and always will be. Catherine is invariably appropriate. Now, I know the rules of the royal and aristocratic world, and I know who abides by them and who doesn't. Not everybody may know all the nuances, but I do. And I'm here to tell you, Catherine doesn't need to emulate Meghan in any way, shape or form. The idea that she would do so is beyond preposterous. You only need to look at the way the two women dress to see that one is a picture of elegance, conservatism, always conservative, always tasteful, always modest, despite also making sure that she is striking. She also abides by the royal rule of dressing in colours that will make you stand out from the crowd. Her clothes are invariably well fitted. Meghan, a study in monochrome boredom. Ill-fitting, sloppy, contrived. I mean, you know, one of the rules of elegance is that you give the message that you care enough to be well groomed, but not that you care so much that you are straying over the borders of elegance into contrivance or affectation. Same can't be said for Meghan. The tendrils of Medusa is one of the looks that maybe occasionally, but as a matter of course, no. Ill-fitting clothes? No. And these idiots wish to say that Catherine copies Meghan? Whatever next. Mickey, catch that pig. It's flying. Go on, babies. Wake up. Catch the pig. Chris Wodka says, there was a story in the American press today about the Andrew Morton book. It claims that the real reason... I'm sorry, I gotta laugh. Let me suppress my laughter. It claims that the real reason Meghan and Harry left was because of William's bullying them. Poor Meghan, poor Harry. Poor Harry. Harry's never been known to ever lose his rag. Never. As for Meghan... Mickey, poor Mexie baby, she's being bullied by William. Did you ever hear anything so ridiculous? Sounds like a story placed by Sunshine Sacks to me. Love your videos. You are a style icon. Thank you very much. I think that's very sweet of you. I simply try to be well presented. Oh, gosh. Well, Andrew Morton, who is actually somebody I know and like. We have been competitors. Oh, because I'm the one who wrote the first book, the one that revealed all that really needed to be revealed, that was truthful about the collapsing nature of the Wales marriage. Andrew came along several months later and wrote the version that Diana would have wanted me to write and I would not write, and so Morton wrote it. His book ended up doing better than mine because it was promoted by Andrew Neil of the Sunday Times with Rupert Murdoch's anti-monarchist agenda. The Sunday Times and the Murdoch organization have been at it for a very long time now. Does it surprise me that Andrew comes up with this rubbish? Not really, you see. Andrew wrote a book about Meghan when she was a success and looked as if she was going to remain a success. And his book, I think it's called Meghan, an American Princess, was very adulatory. Well, of course, it's turned out that the supposedly fine racehorse is a donkey. What's he gonna say? I mean, he did a total volte-face with his first book on Diana, her untrue story, as it used to be called. Because the version that he wrote before she died bore no relationship to the version that he published after she died, which accorded pretty much comprehensively with my first Diana book. How many times can you do a volte-face and say that, oh, the person who was supposed to be this sweet, lovely, kind, innocent, virginal creature had human failings? How many times can he say that and get away with it? Well, clearly not twice, because he's not saying it. So, at least he's protecting his brand and he is being true to his vision, even though it's turned out it's nonsensical. William bullying Harry and Meghan. Poor Meghan, poor Harry. Whatever next? Mix? Catch those pigs, they're still flying. Hello, Lady C. And Mickey SS says, hope you are both well. We are. You might even be able to hear Mickey snoring on the sofa beside me. Did you read the article in the Daily Mail by Dan Wooten on Catherine about upping her game and that her metamorphosis would not have been possible without Harry's wife? What do you think about the article? Thank you. I did read the article. I like Dan Wooten. I thought it was a very good article. I thought it was well considered, and Dan has some pretty good sources. Basically, it's a part of the truth. Let me explain it like this. At any given time, there is an accepted notion as to what is tasteful, attractive, and desirable. And, sorry, I'm very tired, by the way. That's why my throat is giving me trouble. I was shooting an advertisement for Domino's Pizza all yesterday. It was absolutely exhausting. Wonderful people, wonderful day. I looked great, by the way. The makeup was fantastic. I wish I looked like that normally, but exhausting. It was from early in the morning till quite late. And I was having to do lines all day, and I'm not an actress, so my voice is on its last legs, if it's possible to have a voice on last legs. Yes, as I was saying, at any given time, there is an accepted boundary for good taste, beyond which you stray at your peril, and you are then seen to be an attention seeker. I will use a small example. When the Duchess of Windsor went to Buckingham Palace as Mrs. Wallis Simpson for a ball in 1935, she created an absolute sensation. She wore a very sleek, if I remember correctly, it was a pink and green ensemble or some such thing. Very sleek, very shimmery, very striking, very eye-catching, and completely out of keeping with the tone and tenor of the accepted form of attire. No other woman wore anything even similar to that. That was regarded as attention-seeking and poor taste, and did not help her reputation. Catherine has made sure that she has dressed within the acceptable parameters. Meghan came along, and Meghan, in the early days when she wasn't perpetually in black and grabbing attention in an unacceptable and unattractive way, did wear some pretty striking clothes that stretched the boundaries. Once the boundaries are stretched, it's not really easy for them to bounce back quite so readily. So to that extent, Catherine has had to be dressing in a more eye-catching way. But she always did dress in a reasonably eye-catching way. She simply didn't dress in a super glamorous eye-catching way. She dressed in a more ladylike eye-catching way, which, believe it or not, is not necessarily the royal way. The Queen and Princess Margaret, when they were young, dressed in a hyper-glamorous, eye-catching way, exceeding any Hollywood star for glamour and eye-catching attire. So, especially in evening wear, it usually doesn't work so well with day wear, but for evening wear, yes. Look at some of the dresses the Queen and Princess Margaret wore in the 50s into the 60s, and you'll see what I mean. So Catherine has upped her game because she would otherwise be called dowdy. She was being called dowdy because she was all, but she never really was dowdy. What she did was she played it safe, and she is playing it less safely. Having said that, as a woman in the public eye matures, she evolves, she grows into her own style, and she starts to play it less safely. And if she does it correctly, she does it in a very elegant and decorous way. So she's still a lady, in quotes, but she is hyper glamorous. So that's really what's happening. And I think it's to the good. I think it's very much to the good. JM says, their PR team here in America are playing up the New York trip, trying to make it into a royal event. And there is a real campaign here to try and make William into the reason the traitors left England. There are articles every day saying that Prince William and Catherine are jealous and now worried about the traitors. What do I say about that? Well, I say, Mix, catch those pigs, they're flying. Gosh, an awful lot of pigs flying today. You know, the wonderful thing about propagandists is that they have to stick to the party line. And it becomes apparent to everybody who is discerning and observant that no, this is not a pig flying. This is a hand making a motion to make a point. It's ludicrous, but I am sure we'll hear more of the same. Because you see, Harry and Meghan are delusional, and their PR people are either buying the delusion, which I think initially they did, in fairness to them. Harry and Meghan genuinely thought that the royal family was jealous of them. and that the royal family was trying to keep them back from being the outstanding successes, the world leaders, the spearheaders that they and their egos knew secretly, deep within their hearts, that they truly were. So they have decamped. They've employed people at vast expense. Of course, those people are making their money as well, so don't think that it doesn't cut both ways. To those of you who think that they're just writing checks, that's not how it works. And they have to stick to the story, and they have to stick to the line that Harry and Meghan are fabulous. Well, the longer this goes on is the more obvious it becomes to everybody who's sentient and not insane that Harry and Meghan's vision of themselves does not accord with everybody else's vision of them. Ilona Kal says, if you read the New York Post, Washington Post, or Forbes, they are not big block capitals pro Harry and Meghan. All serious big block capitals and professional publications are smirking. The same do the US people, professionals and educated elite. Also Republican Party. So who is pro? People Magazine, Vanity Fair, E! News, Yahoo News. Entertainment industry, big block capitals. Because their PR team is old Hollywood PR team, yes it is. And their friends are celebrities, fewer and fewer. Also some from the Democratic elite. While Harry and Meghan names can make impact, Dems back them. But I don't think for much longer. Their entertainment industry magazines say Harry and Meghan are second coming of Diana. Forbes says second coming of the Kardashians. Thank you very much for that comment. Thanks for so succinctly wrapping up the reality of what is happening. You have in your comment encapsulated what several people have told me privately. To put it in a nutshell, they are failing. Am I exultant? Well, I would have wished them success if they had been going about it in a proper way, but because they haven't, I think, who am I to interfere with karma? And who am I to recriminate against natural justice? Let's put it that way. Alexander Dane says, most certainly the Cambridges showed Harry and that woman of his the meaning of real sophistication, so effortlessly achieved. One of the many problems which Harry has is he is blind to his entrapment at the hands of a narcissistic sociopath, deranged by the lust for money, recognition, and importance. I'm not so sure I'm going to disagree with you, especially as you're entitled to an opinion that many people share, and who knows, even I might do too. She will always be, as a wise man once said, always seeking to be on the up and up, yet sinking lower and lower. Sadly, the boy is either too stupid to see it or too frightened to admit his stupidity, in my opinion. Well, I have to tell you, in my book, Meghan and Harry, The Real Story, I quote people who know Meghan well, saying, Nothing is enough for her. If you gave her California, she'd want Arizona as well. That's the answer. It is insuperable greed, allied to overweening arrogance, allied to supreme delusionalism. Along for the ride is somebody who has been completely captivated. Completely. And we are not going to be crude and vulgar and go into the whys and wherefores, nor will I even mention the nickname by which he used to be known at Buckingham Palace. Although I don't know if you remember that wonderful Stan Getz piece of music called Blowing in the Wind. Hint, hint. Oh, Mickey, what's this about jobs? And since this is really a celebration of the conquest of inelegance by elegance, I'm going to read a few more comments. Crown Jewel 1969 says, what I noticed the most, the blonde premiere, was how William was looking at Catherine with such admiration. You could tell how much he loves her. Yes, he does love her. I'm reliably informed that he does love her, and she loves him. It's beautiful. And all the attempts to sully that will be doomed to failure. Carolina Gallegos says, I'm wondering why nobody has mentioned the way Prince William bit his bottom lip when looking at his beyond beautiful wife. When I saw him do that, I said to myself, wow, that's one proud in love young man. Harry's wife could never look that good. She has no beauty about her. Catherine was absolutely stunning, breathtaking, and made her country proud. Glad you thought so, and I'm going to read a few more because these are representative comments, and they show that the fight back is working. The royal family don't need to be down there in the gutter with the gutter snipes. They can stay on the high road and they can, by example, demonstrate how things should be done. Do you begin to see what I've been trying to, the point I've been trying to make for several months now? That there are ways and means of coping with this undesirable situation, with getting down there and being low and nasty and punitive. Now we have a really rather entertaining one. Mammy O'Riordan says, yes, Catherine shone like a star. Now Meghan can truthfully say Catherine made her cry. Yes, she can. That witch of a sister-in-law of yours. Everybody's saying she's beautiful and fabulous and dresses well, and that I look like a sack of potatoes beside her, and that I don't dress well. Please, you've got to do something about it. What are you going to do, Be a man. You've got to do something. What are you going to do? Oh, it's wicked. Yeah, they're all racists, racists. Claire DeLune fan says, I've never seen a more stunning gown on anybody ever. She wore the dress. It didn't wear her. And that is the secret, if I may observe, of being well dressed. You wear the clothes don't wear you. So if I may continue, I hope I live long enough to see William and Catherine crowned, and I'm a Yank. Oh, there we have it. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it marvellous? Isn't it great to be able to exult in the success of others? Becca Stephanie Thornquist says, Catherine was absolutely stunning and beautiful. She always is. William must have been so proud of his wife. Catherine and William are just such a beautiful couple. They are perfect together. Catherine is one of the most beautiful women I have ever seen, but it's her inner beauty that shines through. She has been gifted with a radiant and natural beauty. And there we actually have it. When you look at Catherine, there is something going on inside there that is very appealing. When you look at Meghan with those Charles Manson eyes and that smug smirk and that contrived look, you realize there's something going on in there too. But one you like, the other you don't like. Unless, of course, you're either dumb or then you have no discernment, or you are so out of touch with reality, as it has to be said, some people are, that they actually confuse artifice with actuality. Miss T says, this is royalty attending celebrity. Catherine was stunning. It is an iconic dress. They all looked wonderful and debonair. And this is the point. Royalty is always supposed to be able to, when it needs to, outshine celebrity. Royalty is always supposed to be a cut above celebrity. That is what royalty is supposed to be about. Perennial stars, not comets flitting through the sky on a transient trajectory to the bank and possibly nowhere. Izzy RRR says, can we please have the Duchess of Cambridge in the USA representing the royal family at meaningful events? We have no one in big block capitals that embodies humanity's style and freedom of speech here. She attends events, doesn't speak, pushing agendas, dressing for the occasion on point, and doesn't blabber persuasion about or upon the people. She's not there to persuade. She's not there to sell herself or anybody anything. She's simply there to represent the monarchy and to do it well. And she does it brilliantly. But, my dear, we want her here, so I'm afraid you can't have her. I think at this point I will cut short some of the comments and go on to the next thing. Lisa Alon says, I was 1 year older than Diana, watched the wedding with keen interest, was disgusted with Charles and Camilla's behaviour and was shocked at Diana's death. Then for years as an American, the royal family fell off my radar, till Meghan Markle decided to take down the monarchy. As a result of this, I occasionally see Camilla. I have found her likeable and funny, but what really struck me about this 4 some at the premiere was Camilla seems to have no problem at all with letting Catherine be the star. Nothing about her says she is in competition with anyone else in the royal family, and that to me is very attractive about her. My dear, you have hit the nail on the head. Camilla has never wanted to be royal. She never wanted to marry the Prince of Wales. She wanted a simple, quiet, ordinary, upper-class life with a man she loved and a man who would love her. She married Andrew Parker Bowles hoping she would get that and didn't. Charles married Diana hoping he would get that and didn't. After their marriages, both buckled under the weight of, shall we say, the inadequacies within each union. Charles and Camilla found comfort with each other again. They were not having an affair in the early days of his marriage. It is completely untrue if you think they were. She's never wanted to be a public figure. She simply loves the man and does what any loving woman would do for her man, which for her has been a sacrifice because Camilla is basically lazy. I'm sorry, it's true, everybody knows it. She's basically lazy and she basically is not a performer and doesn't want to perform and doesn't want to be a star and doesn't want to shine. And she's having to do all of those things because she loves him and it's a part of the role. That's the price she is paying. But you have noticed she does it very well, and she doesn't do it reluctantly, even though it's not what she ever wanted. She only ever wanted a quiet, private life with a man she loved and a man who loved her. I'm glad it comes across that she's not an attention seeker, because she's not. She's just a really nice woman. Jan T says, I like Camilla now. And Jenny Williams said, I have warmed to Camilla over the years. And the splendidly named Lebedev Raskolnikov says, I'm glad you mentioned the Duchess of Cornwall. I really like her. She has earned her stripes all these years, and she looked elegant in a quieter, understated way, which was right. Yes, yes, yes. She is elegant, and she is understated. Great sense of humour. Very droll, very sexy. Sexy voice, sexy demeanour, great fun. She's a good egg. And I have always said from the word go, I hope she becomes queen. She deserves it. Uranus says, and incidentally, that's the correct way of pronouncing it. Queen Elizabeth was instrumental in imposing sanctions against South Africa's apartheid regime. She actually travelled out to South Africa with her father, King George VI, to try and talk the South African government out of imposing its segregation policies. Nelson Mandela thanked her for this on numerous occasions. For Meghan to accuse the royal family of racism just proves her ignorance, and that it was nothing but a calculated smear campaign because she couldn't get her way. Actually, to not go too deeply into the history and who said what and who did what when, you're right. Nelson Mandela was the first to make it quite obvious that he knew the royal family was not racist. And yes, it was a calculated smear campaign by Meghan, and she managed to seduce Harry into believing the lie. And it was a smear campaign. And it has persisted in being a smear campaign. But remember, it wasn't only against the royal family, it was also against the British people. Marsha Weinberg says, Dear Lady C, I enjoy your show very much. You are honest and polished. Thank you. Mash and Hash are despicable. Their performance in New York City was farcical. How sad for those Harlem children that Mash couldn't be empathetic and caring. If I remember correctly, Mash was always bragging about her healthy eating and yoga when she first married Hash. Didn't she have a yoga room installed in Frogmore? I also remember how she snapped at Catherine, how her children's eating habits were terrible. What are your thoughts on this? Thanks to you and love to you and Mickey. She did have a yoga room installed at Frogmore. Yes, she has emphasized how wonderful her eating habits are to match everything else about her that's wonderful. And yes, she was not empathetic with the children. It was an exhibition of, oh, I'm a woman of colour and I've come to Harlem to show you how it's really done. You know, you've got to be classy like me. And so I'm going to wear hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, and I'm going to wear fabulously expensive clothes, completely inappropriate for the season, but still. And I'm going to read that great work of art that I wrote called The Stench. And it's all about a little boy who has a great relationship with his father. And it doesn't really matter to me that I'm reading to a group of kids who, most of whom do not have a father, and therefore it's rubbing salt in their wounds. So not only is it boring, it's objectionable. Carol Horan says, I think Meghan Markle has bulked up because of the wellness book she'll bring out under the publishing contract. People in Hollywood know how to pack the pounds on and take them off quickly for various roles. Could it be it was determined she would get more followers being chunky, taking the weight off, than it was if she was a thin actress and trying to convince people to listen to her? We now alight upon something that many of you have written in about, which is that possibly Meghan's weight gain is more illusory than real. Well, I actually think she looks fine. So, and I could lose a good 10 pounds easily. So I have nothing against women packing a little bit of extra weight as we get older. However, it's interesting that many of you have come up with your conclusion that the whole thing's a con for her to magically lose the weight. But I'll get to that in a second, because today basically I really want to have people speak for me as opposed to me speaking for them. It really is a terrible reflection on Meghan's reputation that people actually believe, and an awful lot of people believe, that this woman hasn't really gained the weight, or if she's gained it to be able to lose it, to march. Is there no stone that the worm will not leave unturned? You couldn't make it up. Unbelievable. But time will tell. Let us see. Because several people have commented that in the photographs recently, that Meghan's weight varies not only from day to day, or to put it another way, the areas of fat upon Meghan's body vary from day to day, week to week, month to month, and photograph to photograph. People do not normally have their weight shifting around to that extent. So let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see if there is indeed a book with Meghan the authority on weight gain, weight loss, toning, the muscles, etc. Let's wait and see. But what's really interesting is how many people are on to her. Charles Spanberg says, Dear Lady C, I became aware of a glossy magazine called Meghan that is available in supermarkets in the USA. It is, of course, all about nutmeg. The editor, Reed Meghan, is praising her in an introduction as an activist, philanthropist, and a humanitarian. Is that all? Did you have made her a goddess yet? Mickey, come, help Matty. Matty's going to have a heart attack. They're denigrating Megsy baby. They haven't acknowledged her as a goddess. That's wicked of them. They've got to be racist. End of question. Do you have your copy yet? Mix, go and fetch me the copy of Meghan. Mix, please, fetch me the copy of Meghan. Mix, fetch me the copy of Meghan. Come on, fetch me. Mix, bring the copy of Meghan for Matty. Come. Come on, come on, up, up, up. Oh, look at what Mickey's brought me. Mickey, does this say Meghan? No. Mickey, you brought the wrong magazine. It's got your Matty on the front cover with the Tushar Sabali portrait, which is a brilliant portrait that I will eventually leave to the National Portrait Gallery. It's not Meghan. Sorry. It's not Meghan. It's me. Will I ever see that magazine? If somebody sends it to me, I would be delighted to receive it. Am I going out of my way to get it? I don't think so. But isn't it wonderful how resourceful and energetic Meghan is in her never-ending quest for ever greater success? As she tries to rise higher, she sinks lower. There's a message there somewhere, I think. Everybody really has a level that they should be comfortable at. And you shouldn't try, if you're a sowser, to present yourself as a silk purse. After all, pigskin handbags are perfectly desirable. And on that note, I will say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of interest to you. If you have enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and please remember to keep the questions and comments coming in, because you are an integral part of this. This could not be done without your input. Thanks and goodbye. Godspeed.